Hey, what is going on, guys? Xpertfusion here, and in this video I want to talk to you guys about the problems I had with The Walking Dead Telltale Games A New Frontier Season 3. So, this season it took a while to come out, that's for sure. Season 2 ended in the beginning of 2014, and this didn't start till the very end of, was it 2016? Yeah, it was December. Yeah, it was December or something like that. And it was hype. I was really excited for this, man, because I've been waiting so long for this season. I've been waiting so long to see the continuation of Clementine's story and Kenny or Jane, depending on your choices. But I was stuck with a lot of disappointing things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to hate or anything like that. I genuinely did enjoy the season. Definitely had a lot of good moments. Had some great storylines and characters. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it is a very disappointing season in terms of what I was expecting and what a lot of other people were expecting. And there's a few things that kind of contribute to this reasoning and as to why it wasn't as good as it could have been. And I'm going to go over all these reasonings with you guys right here. So first things first, I just want to get this out of the way because, it's not always something I could talk about for a while. It's just straight up, it's too short. It's way too short. You look back at Season 1, each episode was 2.5 hours on average. Obviously depending on how fast you played. The average was 2.5 hours per episode. Season 2 went down to an hour and 40 minutes per episode, but that's still good. I'm still fine with that. This literally average of an hour and 10 minutes per episode. And I'm still paying the same amount of money as I did for Season 1 and Season 2 as I am for Season 3, and I'm not getting I'm not getting longer episodes, which is kind of bullshit to me. I wanted to see the story, be expanded. It took so long to come out with this, too. If they came out right after Season 2, it'd be alright, obviously they had to rush it out. They had 2-year break. Obviously they weren't working on it the whole time, but, they had time to do it. They had the time. So I don't understand why they couldn't have made the episodes a little bit longer. Honestly, I think Episode 1 should have been Episode 1 and 2 put together as one full, 2-hour episode in Episode 1. Episode 2 should have been Episode 3 and 4. Episode 3 should have been the season finale, but adding on some stuff, and then they could have had 2 more episodes left over with the story, and we could have seen maybe those 2 episodes would have been Clementine getting back AJ or something like that, because it didn't feel like a finale. It definitely didn't. It felt like there was more story to it. Obviously, it might be in DLC or in Season 4 where we see Clementine going for AJ, which I'm very excited for that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this season definitely was short. That's one problem. And there's a couple others. Another one I have that I kind of had the same problem with Season 2, but not as much as I did with this season, and that is the characters. Now, it's not the characters themselves. It's not do I like the characters or I don't like any of the characters or whatever. No, I love these characters. I think a lot of them are awesome, especially Javi. I think he's a really cool character. I didn't think I was going to like him at first, but I actually really enjoy him now. And, Kate and Gabe and Mariana and David. I like all these characters. Trip, But the biggest problem I had with it, there's just 2 things. First of all, it's how they handle determinate characters, and also the lack of returning characters that aren't even determinate characters, but they could have brought them back. So, determinate characters. What are determinate characters? I think we should talk about that. Determinate characters are characters that are, depending on your story and depending on your choices, they can either be dead or not. And if they're still alive for you, but they're dead for somebody else, that means they are determinate, meaning there's a chance they could have already been dead, but they're not. Or, vice versa, meaning they're dead, but they could have still been alive, depending on your choices, of course. Now, the 2 major determinate characters are Kenny and Jane that they brought into the next season, that one or the other could have been dead, depending on your choices, or both of them, it all depends. And since they didn't want to have to continue a story with them because, they would have to make a completely separate story for people who chose those specific reasons, those choices, they just killed them off instead since they don't want to do that. Now, I have a fix for this. Obviously, it's hard. They would have to, do something crazy. Obviously, like I said, they had 2 years to do this. They could have, made 2 or 3 completely separate stories depending on your choices at the end of Season 2 with Jane or being on Kenny's side or being alone or being at Wellington. They could have made those 4 different, stories right there. They could have. It's not that hard. And then they could have, brought them all together in Episode 3 or something and then, introduce us to Javier and that stuff like that. But no, instead they show us like a 5-minute, not even like a 3-minute flashback of them dying in a stupid way. Not even like a, reasonable death way, but like it's just a stupid way. And they either should have done that, is what I said, made 4 completely separate stories, and then maybe give them a good character death. Maybe give them an actual death because they're determined and they kind of, I guess you want the stories to be connected in some way. And so, all right, at that point, you can kill them. All right, I'm fine with that. But they could have also just not gotten themselves into this situation in the first place. They shouldn't have had it, Kenny and Jane being determining characters. At the end of season 2, they shouldn't have. They should have just stuck to one of them dying. Maybe your choices, don't really matter. Maybe, Jane gets on top of Kenny, and whether or not you shoot Jane to get her off, maybe Kenny kills her anyways, and then Jane dies. And then it all depends on either you killed Jane or Kenny killed Jane. And then that's just it. There's no, determinant character. It's just Kenny and Clem go on to their whatever next journey they go on to, and it would still be a very sad ending. I mean, Jane dying would be pretty sad, and I would feel like it would fit better than Kenny dying, and it would work. It would show Clementine that there are people who you trust, and then ends up, taking that trust away, and that's kind of how Jane acted at the end there. And I was always on keeping Kenny alive team, but like I said, they shouldn't have got themselves in that situation. They should have done what I just said there, and it would have avoided so many issues. It really would have. It would have avoided having to do these determinate character deaths and these really dumb, rushed episodes that don't feel right if they just didn't make them determinate characters in the first place. Now, determinate characters shouldn't only be side characters. They should never make a main character a determinant character. I've come to that conclusion because they always kill the determinant character off in such a stupid way. Look at Nick. Nick from season 2. He was a determinant character in episode 2. Whether or not you said something good to Walter, Walter will either help him against the Walker or not, and that'll depend on Nick's life. If you keep Nick alive, he literally has no screen time over the next 2 episodes, and then gets a stupid death in episode 4 of just you coming across him and he's a walker. That's it. No build up to it. No, actual meaningful death. Just killed him off. And he was actually a pretty primary character in those first 2 episodes, so killing him off in that way was really dumb. You had Carly in season 1 is actually a good example of a determined character. Now, Carly wasn't really a side character, but they actually made the Carly storyline work a lot. And that's why, honestly, season 1 I enjoyed more than any other season because of that reason itself. And then you had Ben, who's a determinate character. They actually killed him off in a reasonable way after his possible determinate death. Like, they're giving these determinate characters great deaths, but then you got season 3 and kind of only a little bit in season 2. Season 2 did okay with it in some ways, but there was also some times when they did bad in it. But then you have season 3 where it's just terrible. It's just terrible, man. I mean, especially Jane and Kenny are the primary examples. Now, they did do pretty good with, like, Conrad and stuff like that. I like Conrad, his determinant storyline, and how if he stays alive, he can. But barely anybody kept him alive. The only people who kept him alive just kept him alive because they wanted, to see the cool choices. But everybody, or at least most of the people who played episode 2 firsthand and didn't know that Conrad was going to stay alive for that long, they shot him because they were threatening. He was threatening to kill Clementine and kill Gabe, and no, most people killed him. So that, and he's just Conrad. I don't really care too much about him. So yeah, and then you got Trip and Ava at the end of season 5. They put them in the determining character spot at the end of episode 4, and then they both got kind of dumb deaths in episode 5. I don't know. I didn't really like them that much. Ava's death was the stupidest, and then you had they got over it in 2 seconds, literally. David was like, oh, yeah, she died a hero. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and then Trip's death was definitely better than Ava's, that's for sure, but it was still a little wonky. I mean, they kind of showed it off screen. It was kind of dumb. David's death, oh my god. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a way you can make David live, but showing it off screen is just not good storytelling. I get it's realistic, and they're trying to make it realistic because obviously, you're playing as Javier. You're playing as his story. Why would they show everything on screen? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to see everybody die in your life, so it's realistic. He's not always going to see people die. Sometimes he's going to miss it. And this is not a realistic story, though. This is not. This is The Walking Dead. This is supposed to be a story. Stories are never supposed to be 100% realistic in terms of stuff like that, We should have seen David's death because it was kind of just like stupid, and he got over it in 2 seconds, just like I said. And then Gabe's death was better, definitely better. It still didn't fit his, character. He shouldn't have been dying right there. But there are ways to avoid that happening, which is good. Definitely good. Another thing I've actually realized is there's actually a way that you can keep Kenny and Jane alive. I mean, I don't think that they're ever, gonna bring them back, even if you went with that storyline. But if you decided to leave Kenny at the gates of Wellington, or Kenny decided to leave you, and then you also decide to leave Jane, there's 2 different ways. You will never see them again. You'll never get that flashback to see them. The flashback will be of you either in Wellington or by yourself. So if you really think about it, they could be alive, but obviously they probably killed them off screen, like I said, because Telltale, it does not know how to do Determinate Characters in the right way. So I've come, to that full-on conclusion, and there's also some other little issues. Well, Kenny and Jane, they look terrible. Just their, character outline, they obviously rushed them. They didn't look like Kenny or Jane whatsoever. Yeah, that problem. A lot of lag issues, like I said, that's something to be expected. I definitely like the graphics, though. The graphics look pretty nice, compared to previous seasons, that's for sure. And I'm trying to think what other problems I had with this season, because, like I said, it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing ever. But it definitely felt rushed and felt like they kind of just went through it really quickly. Probably, honestly, that's probably how I feel about it. The fact that they go through storylines so fast in Telltale, and people like that, but I don't know, I just don't. I think the best way to make this amazing story from Season 1 all the way to Season 3, that I've loved this story, I love the characters, I love everything about it, the best way to do complete justice to it and keep characters alive, not give these determining characters, would honestly be to make a TV series out of this show. Now, I know they already have 2 Walking Dead shows going on right now, Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. But once Fear or The Walking Dead, whichever one ends first, I feel like Fear is going to end first. I feel like Fear is going to go on for maybe 6 seasons or something like that. And The Walking Dead is probably going to go on for a lot longer. But I think they should make the Telltale series story into a TV series, because they could actually give it full-on justice, keeping characters alive, not killing them off in stupid ways. They can get good writers, good directors. It could be live action. There won't be any determining characters that get stupid deaths because there's no choices. It's just a TV series. I think they could really do some awesome things. All I need is a good little girl actor for Clementine. Get Lee, get all the characters in the beginning, and then they can go through seasons. And honestly, with the 3 seasons we have so far, that's at least I gotta say, that's a lot of, that could be up to 6 or 7 seasons worth of content, maybe even more, and that's a lot. That's already how much we have in The Walking Dead. So it'd be just like the Walking Dead following the comics. They don't follow the comics 100%, but they do take the source material, the source characters, and kind of mix them up and fit them in the way that they want to fit them in the new story. They can add storylines, take away storylines. That's exactly what they could do for a TV show based on this, and I would absolutely love that. I think I'm going to go one more problem that I have, and that's not many returning characters. Now, that kind of fits in with the whole Jane, Kenny determining character thing. But there's also a lot of non-determining characters that could still be in it, and they aren't. You got 400 Days characters. Bonnie, Vince, Wyatt, all the characters from 400 Days. Shell, I think, what was the other one? Becca, maybe? I don't know. We were said Bonnie. Oh, Russell was the other one. You have all those characters that they should have brought back in some way, shape, or form. You have, obviously Bonnie, Mike, and Arvo, which none of them, actually, no, I think Bonnie could have died in a specific ending. I'm not 100% on that, but, at least come back with Mike or Arvo. I mean, that would be interesting, having Arvo come back. I mean, imagine that, him coming across Clementine. Holy shit. I just realized that would be so awesome if they do that in the Clementine's continuation of her story, if she comes across Arvo. Imagine the fucking stuff that would go on there. That'd be pretty crazy. Maybe Arvo's a lot older. He's a lot more tougher. Maybe they get into a fight. Maybe Clementine kills him. I would honestly love that. But, I think they should bring characters like that back. And there's some more I'm probably missing right now. But you just, like I said, they love killing off characters in such stupid ways. And they love killing off so many characters that have so much more storyline left to them. And honestly, Fear the Walking Dead, it reminds me of Fear the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead just killed off a character in the dumbest way possible, which was Travis just getting a random bullet through the window of a helicopter and his throat being, shot. Feel like that was just not fitting for his character at all, and this is not a Fear Walking Dead video. I'm getting off topic here, but overall, you get the idea. I might make a review for that episode, I don't know. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Season 3 in the comment section below, and I'm very, very excited for future seasons. I'm going to make a prediction video for future seasons as well eventually. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.